Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman Superman World's Finest number 26. This is a new comic book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora, Tamara Von Villen colors, letters by Steve Wands, and a beautiful, beautiful cover by Dan Mora. More covers at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. This is the follow up from the annual, and issue number 25. We're kicking off a new story. So, in this issue, beware the power of Doom Might. Following the imp shattering events of the Batman Superman World's Finest 2024 annual and number 25, it is up to Mr. Mix the Piddleclick. Let me know how you say that in the comments. Although I guess it's going to be hard since you got to spell it out. Mr. Spittle, I don't know, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. So him and Batmite, it is up to them to convince Batman and Superman that they are in for real trouble this time. If this dynamic duo of odd couples can work together, then our entire dimension might be in jeopardy. This is a bonkers, crazy, out of this world story, and I'm very excited for it for multiple reasons. First of all, Mark Waid's been doing such a really fun job with this, just leading us in this book. This has been one of my favorite ongoing since it kicked off. We are 26 issues deep, and this team of Dan Moore and Mark Waid, probably my favorite tag team in comics at the time. Also, just really cool art. Dan Moore is killing it, and of course, at the addition of these fifth dimensional beings just causes shenanigans to ensue. Let's take a look at some of the preview art so you know some of what I'm talking about. I mean, just look at this first page. We got the coats, we got the explosion behind it, we got the sunglasses. Cool guys never look back. We also see that Superman has maybe like a toothpick. They all have toothpick or hay or something in their mouth because that's what they are. And then it's really funny. Batman realizes what the heck is going on and snaps out of it, right? I think the relationship between Batman and Batmite is very different to the relationship between Superman and Mister Mixleplick. That's what I call him. That's what we're gonna name him. And I think that's definitely explored in this issue. And then also we have the addition of the Boy Wonder, who goes in a really cool trip here. And Dan Moore is one of my favorite people to draw Batman scowling. You see both of these. Just the transition here, a little comedy, a little bit of switching roles, right? Batman's going to be teaming up with Mr. Mixleplick, and Superman's going to be teaming up with Batmite. So a little bit of change there. As you saw, some of the imps have passed. So yeah, this is just ready for out of this world shenanigans, but it still leads us to a really fun story. Still leads us to a really cool mystery, which I'm very excited to explore. So very, very good issue. Very, very good way to debut this storyline. Like I said, you probably want to go read the annual and issue 25, but you don't have to. This kind of brings you in as you are going in. So hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Superman number 13. This is House of Brainiac House of Brainiac Part 2. You can read the first part in the Action Comics 1064 from the previous week. Also, if you pick up both of those issues, you'll see that they have connecting variants. Here's part 1, as you can see. And then if we go take a look at the credits, you'll see that this completes the cover. Really cool. I love when they have connecting variants like that, but they also look really cool on their own, stand off on their own. So this issue is written by writer Joshua Williamson with art by Rafa Sandoval, colors by Alejandro Sanchez, letters by Aaron Mayer. And you can see here you get a little bit of a glimpse as to where to find part 1, which I think it's always very important. We also have a bunch of variant covers. You can see that at the end of the video. So in this issue, Superman and Lobo team up. Together, the Men of Steel and the Main Man race across the universe on a hunt for the Lobo army and Brainiac. Can they get along enough to get to them before Brainiac enacts the next stage of his dangerous plans to create to create a new House of Brainiac. Now, in the first issue, we saw that Lex Luthor had an inkling as to what Brainiac was planning. They've worked together in the past. They have this kind of weird connection too. So, this issue, Joshua Williamson loves to do really fun stuff, really crazy stuff. So we start in Coast City at a Green Lantern themed bar. Can you imagine that? So like that's really fun, and that's where we, instead of looking in on Superman, we actually see Lobo, which is first of all bonkers. But yeah, really cool. I do want to know. I think Joshua Williamson has set up a really fun mystery as to why is Lobo not with the rest of the Sarsians? Also, if the Sarsians, if they're, if Lobo's supposed to be the last one of his race, how are there more running around? So, also, what is it? What is Brainiac's plan? I think that Joshua Williamson is both giving us little bits of information for us to kind of start to speculate while still maintaining a true mystery. So that's really fun. Let's take a look at the preview art because Sandoval is just firing on all cylinders on this one. I love here, like I said, the Green Lantern theme bar is just so fun. Like it just gives you a chance. I love that in the DC universe, like people wear like superhero themed outfits, like we do in real life. So that's really fun. Of course, if Lobo's around, shenanigans are going to ensue and somebody might be getting their ass kicked because that's the way the main man rolls. And we do see he's starting trouble. I love this last panel of like Lobo. I think that's Superman calling, like, getting his attention. So, like, you have Lobo encased in his own name. That's just really fun. Like this is some of the stuff that only comic books can do, right? And Superman very much domineering, very authoritative, because there's some serious stuff going on. He doesn't even know if Lobo is involved with the rest of the what's going on, right? The rest of the invasion. So, uh, really fun stuff. Really great setup. I do appreciate that we're going back and forth between the series. So I think this is probably going to be a 3 issue and 3 issue crossover. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm very excited. I think DC and Joshua Williamson have been doing such a good job taking care of the Superman property with the Superman family. So hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Wonder Woman #8. This is a new book by Tom King with art by Daniel St. Pierre. We have Tommy Murray on colors, letters by Clayton Cowles. This is finally picking back up The Sacrifice Part 1. This is continuing from the main story. We also have a backup story with Tom King with art by Belen Ortega that features Trinity. So a lot of the issues of Wonder Woman have featured a Trinity backstory, which is really fun because she's hanging out with the Super Nannies, aka the Super Sons. But in this issue, the Amazon Warrior versus the Sovereign, Wonder Woman versus the Sovereign after being captured by the team of villains, which incredible stuff. A couple of issues ago, we did have one issue in between to kind of break up the story a bit. Diana finds herself at the mercy of the scariest of them all. Unbeknownst to our hero, the Sovereign has been pulling her strings since the very beginning of our tale, and now it's time to see the world his way as she falls under the influence of the lasso of lies. The lasso of lies has been featured heavily, and it's very responsive to what we're seeing in the future for Trinity. We also have, like I said, Trinity visiting the past and unexpectedly changing the future in the backup story. So stay tuned for that. Um, really cool. Back just real quick on the backup story, we get to see Trinity in a samurai armor. Abella Ortega is a former mangaka, so like her art really works with that. I really appreciated that. I'll try to share some of the art once the full issue's out, because that's not part of the preview pages. But definitely stay tuned for that story. It's really worth your time. The backup stories have been amazing in this book. So let's take a look at this one. Now, this is a really interesting approach because it brings back a lot of what I feel is imagery from the roots of Wonder Woman. Like if you read some of the old comics, um, Wonder Woman is often put in some very interesting positions, like and by that I just mean like uh, she is taken out, like her powers is kind of taken from her. But I think Tom King is doing this to show how much she's changed since back then. We also get to see some like, 50s Americana style, like an imagination that's going on, all because of the power of the lasso. So it's really interesting. I think Daniel St. Pierre does a really good job to capture that, like almost as a pinup type of art. So let's take a look at the art so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Look at the difference between these pages, right? First of all, the coloring, very interesting how it changes. We get to see Wonder Woman here as kind of a housewife with Steve, and very submissive, very different from the Diana that we know. And this is all because of the influence of the lasso. Uh, but also, she keeps kind of, there's something in the back of her head, something in the back of her mind that it just shows you how she refuses not to fight against this. Um, I will say, I think, I don't know how I feel about. I feel like the lasso should be a little bit darker. I think we've seen it in other iterations, maybe because the power wasn't going through. I don't know. It just, it seems a little odd, that whole look. I liked it when it looked more like it was like a dark black that still had that glow to it. So, oh, we don't have a lot of preview art. Those were actually some of the covers that I'll show at the end of the video. So yeah, really interesting stuff. Great issue though. I really really enjoyed it. Like from beginning to end. Diana is a fighter, and we know that. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Nightwing 113, which is also the 300 issue of Nightwing. We'll get into all that. Let's take a look at the creative team here. We have Tom Taylor and Marv Wolfman writing. Marv Wolfman writes pages 20 and 21. We also have art by Daniel Di Nicolo and Bruno Redondo for pages 20 and 21. So the Marv Wolfman pages. Adriano Lucas on colors, Wes Abbott on letters. We also have a backup story um, that we have by Michael Conrad, I believe, where it's kind of a one. It's a really cool story that has to deal with a ticking clock. And a ticking clock is always very interesting to do in it's always very interesting to do in a comic medium. So, but this landmark issue, 300 issue, since the 1940s, you've seen him grow from the acrobat to an orphan to, from Dick Grayson to Robin to Nightwing. You've seen him work alongside the universe's most powerful heroes against his existence and most sinister villains. You've seen Dick Grayson do so many things, but now it is this 300 issue. You will see him. Well, you'll just have to pick up the issue to find out. Join us in this legacy milestone. Um, I got to tell you, this issue is, first of all, a lot of fun. I think Tom Taylor knows how to write a really cool, action packed story. And then towards the end, because we do have Marv Wolfman, who is one of the co creators, um, it's just a very emotional experience to me. Like I really love those last two pages. We get some really nice nods to the original creative team, to the legacy of Nightwing and Robin and Dick Grayson, and it just feels like there's so much respect for this character and his evolution, how much he's changed, and you can see it right from the cover. You can see it. Let me pull that back up. Like it's just, this is all about how has Nightwing changed and moved from the beginning. I love the little, just him taking steps. It's just very very cool, and the team just, I don't know. I feel like Tom Taylor and the team just love this character so much. I'm gonna be a little disappointed when they leave the book. I know the end is coming and the end is near. This book definitely feels like not only a milestone, but the beginning of the end. Yeah, and like I said, there's a beautiful couple of pages. Maybe we'll talk more about that in a separate video where we do spoilers. But the legacy of Nightwing, it is in good hands, in my opinion. So um, let's take a look at some of the preview art. Now, if you're familiar with Daniel Gianicolo's art, very stylized, very dynamic, not a lot of detail as far as, like, it's very different from Bruno Redondo's when it comes to that. Um, and I feel like the colors are always a little bit brighter, especially for a hero like Nightwing, right? He is in Bloodhaven, which is very different from Gotham. I love when he teams up with the other Robins, and you can see here, especially in the first, this big panel here, as they catch on, and we revisit a lot of the people that Nightwing's worked with. Um, Nightwing, and there's also like a ceremony where they're giving Dick Grayson an award. So this is not just a celebration of the Nightwing character and the legacy of Robins, but also for Dick Grayson himself and the home that he's made in Bloodhaven. And like I mentioned, very, very, really cool emotional pages when we have the original creator, one of them, because unfortunately George Perez has passed away. But it's just so cool. It's just such a really, really cool experience. Some really cool covers at the end of the video as well. So make sure to pick those up. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments as always. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.